Concept of consciousness as a field began to take shape. A field isn't confined to a specific point, rather it permeates space. It can be accessed, modulated, and perceived in various ways, depending on the conditions. This idea is already familiar in physics, which describes fundamental phenomena not as solid objects, but as fields of interaction. Without resorting to exaggerated speculation, some scientists have noted that modern physics long ago moved away from the idea of a universe made up solely of isolated particles. Reality is now understood as a web of dynamic relationships where the observer is not entirely separate from the observed. In this context, the notion of consciousness as a field no longer seems absurd. This approach provided a coherent explanation for various phenomena that were previously deemed anomalous. Conscious experiences in states of low brain activity, perceptions without direct sensory stimuli, and accounts of expanded consciousness could be understood as different ways of accessing this field, influenced by the individual's neurological conditions. The brain, then, takes on a role similar to that of a lens. It doesn't generate light, but it shapes how that light is focused. Minor adjustments in the structure of the lens can drastically change the perceived image. This could explain why drugs, injuries, or certain mental practices can alter conscious experience without necessitating the destruction of the mind when the brain is compromised. This perspective also helps clarify why consciousness seems so fundamental to the human experience. If it were merely a late-stage byproduct of biological evolution, it would be challenging to explain its central role in how we live, make decisions, and assign meaning. Instead, consciousness emerges as a foundational element of reality rather than a mere accident. Naturally, this idea faced resistance. Fields are challenging to measure directly, and modern science still heavily relies on what can be quantified. However, many physical fields were accepted before they were fully understood. Their existence was inferred from observable effects, much like what is currently happening with consciousness. The concept of a non-local mind didn't diminish the importance of the brain, quite the opposite. It highlighted the brain's complexity and precision even more. A sophisticated receptor is essential for translating something as subtle as conscious experience into thoughts, emotions, and actions in the physical world. Rather than being undervalued, the brain began to be understood in its true role,